The alien city of Zhar'Kell was built on a foundation of absolute confidence. This confidence was carved into every entry gate, a stark warning to the galaxy. Nitrogen monoxide living being may cross the kill zone. This wasn't just a defensive perimeter. It was a 5-kilometer statement of invincibility. A vast, open expanse of blackened stone, layered with automated plasma cannons, swarms of hunter-killer drones, gravity traps that could flatten a tank, and a minefield of pure energy. Entire armies had tried to cross it. Entire armies had been erased from existence before they even reached the halfway point. The Alien Council of Zhar'Kell considered it perfect, a flawless monument to their military superiority. It was, they believed, unbeatable. Then, one day, something impossible happened. The long-range sensors, silent for years, blinked to life. They detected a single, solitary heat signature. It wasn't a fleet. It wasn't an armored column. It was one life form, and the scanners identified it with a chilling certainty. Human. At the edge of the desolation, a transport ramp lowered. Sergeant Marcus Hale stepped off and onto the scorched stone of the kill zone. He stood alone. No armor convoy rumbled behind him. No air support screamed overhead. There was no backup. All he had was a standard issue, reinforced combat suit, and a kinetic rifle slung loosely across his back. In the central command tower overlooking the zone, the alien commanders watched the lone figure on their main view. A wave of derisive laughter echoed through the opulent chamber. One commander, a towering being with 4 arms, waved a dismissive hand. "Deactivate the warning sirens," he chuckled. "The noise is irritating. Let this fool die in silence." The order was given. The deafening alarms that usually announced an incoming threat fell quiet. The only sound was the wind whistling across the barren plain. The first line of defense stirred. The cannons, massive automated turrets, swiveled and locked onto the single human target. A moment later, they opened fire. The air itself seemed to tear apart as bolts of superheated plasma turned the sky into a crisscrossing web of burning light. Each shot could melt through meters of reinforced steel, but Marcus didn't run like the others. He didn't zigzag in panic or try to find cover where there was none. He ran straight, boots pounding against the stone. His heart was a steady drum, not a frantic flutter. He was listening, feeling the vibrations through the soles of his boots. He was timing the cannons by their hum and the rhythm of their firing sequence. A plasma blast tore past his right shoulder, so close he felt the heat sear his suit. It struck the ground behind him, exploding into a crater of molten rock. He never broke stride. As he closed the first kilometer, the second wave activated. Hatches slid open across the field, and a black cloud rose into the air. Drones, hundreds of them, sleek and insect-like, armed with shredder cannons and explosive charges. They descended on him like a metal plague. Marcus didn't stop. He slid low, the swarm passing just overhead. He rolled, came up to a knee, and fired his rifle, not in wild, panicked sprays, but in controlled, disciplined bursts. 1 shot, 1 drone. 2 shots, 2 drones. Each round was precise, economical. The sky began to rain twisted metal. He saw an opportunity in the chaos. He kicked a fallen drone casing, sending it skidding ahead of him. He used the moving wreckage as temporary cover, a shield against the incoming fire. As more swarms closed in, he tossed a small device and electromagnetic charge. It detonated with a silent pulse of blue energy, and an entire squadron of drones simply dropped from the sky, their systems fried. The commanders in the tower had stopped laughing. They leaned forward, their expressions shifting from amusement to disbelief. Next came the gravity traps. Without warning, invisible fields of immense force slammed down from above, designed to crush anything beneath them into a paste. The ground around Marcus buckled under the pressure. He felt the pull a split second before it hit. He dropped to one knee, gritting his teeth, his muscles straining against a force that could pulverize a starship's hull. The pressure was immense, trying to drive him into the ground. But it poussait. He pushed through the crushing weight, his suit groaning, and slowly, impossibly, stood back up. The lead commander's voice was a whisper. Why is he still moving? How is he anticipating our defenses? Marcus was now halfway through the kill zone. He was a moving target in a world designed for annihilation, and he was still advancing, but his luck couldn't hold forever. A drone he'd missed clipped him from the side. A burst of fire tore through his suits, plating on his left side. The impact spun him around, and he fell to one knee. The suit's internal displays flashed red. Armor compromised, minor internal bleeding. Blood began to spread across the fabric of his undersuit. The pain was sharp, a fire in his ribs, but he didn't slow down. He didn't stop to patch the wound. He reached for his belt, pulled a small auto-injector, steam and jammed it into his thigh. The rush of adrenaline and painkillers hit him like a physical blow, washing away the pain and fatigue. He got back to his feet and kept running. Because humans had a different calculus for survival. Other species measured it in safety, in comfort, in the absence of pain. Humans measured it in will. They measured it in the stubborn refusal to give up. Long after the body screamed to stop, he was in the final stretch now. The commanders, now in a state of quiet panic, activated their last resort, the weapon they reserved for entire fleets, the Oblivion Array. A massive energy projector rose from the center of the kill zone, its focusing lens glowing with apocalyptic power. It was designed to erase targets at the molecular level, to unmake them from existence. A synthesized voice echoed across the field, devoid of emotion. Target acquired. Firing sequence initiated. The beam locked onto Marcus. In his helmet, he saw the targeting laser paint his chest, and for the first time, Marcus Hale smiled. It was a grim, tired smile, but it was a smile of triumph. Just as the array discharged its blinding white beam of pure annihilation, he threw himself forward, a final, desperate dive. He rolled beneath the beam, feeling its heat vaporize the air above him. The ground he had just been standing on, and 100 meters behind it, simply ceased to exist. He came up from the roll at a full sprint, the last of his energy surging. Before the array could recharge, he was there, right at its base. He slammed a heavy demolition charge against its armored housing, armed it, and launched himself away. The explosion was deafening. It ripped through the array, and the shockwave echoed across the entire alien city. And then, silence. The kill zone, for the first time in its history, went completely quiet. The cannons were dormant. The drones were wreckage. The traps were offline. The Oblivion Array was a smoking ruin. Sergeant Marcus Hale crossed the final painted line and stopped. He stood, breathing heavily, his suit cracked and bleeding, on the sacred ground of Zhar'Kell. On the other side, alien soldiers stood frozen, their weapons raised but trembling in their hands. They were the city's honor guard, a ceremonial post, because no one had ever reached this point alive. Marcus slowly looked up at the towering skyscrapers of the alien capital. He raised a hand to his helmet and keyed his comm unit. His voice, broadcast across every speaker in the city, was calm, steady, and utterly final. "This is Sergeant Hale of Earth," he said. "Your defenses are finished." Behind him, 5 kilometers of scorched earth, twisted metal, and broken pride smoked and burned. In the command tower, the Alien Council issued an immediate, unconditional ceasefire, because on that day, the galaxy learned a new, fundamental truth. A kill zone is only deadly until a human decides to walk through it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from the edge of the universe. See you next time.